Real estate is the last major commission-based profession that hasn't been structurally disrupted. We're talking AI. We're talking the change that is coming fast for everybody's knowledge-based business. Not because it was immune, because the information asymmetry that protected it, agents, knowing things buyers and sellers didn't, held together just long enough. In 2026, it isn't holding together anymore, and the disruption is coming from two directions all at once. Start with AI. Start with what AI is actually doing in the transaction, because the list is longer than most people outside the industry realize. Listing copy. AI tools generate property descriptions that outperform human written versions on engagement metrics in A/B testing across major platforms. Comparable market analysis. AI automated valuation models now achieve median error rates of 2.8% compared to traditional appraisal, which contains significant errors in over a third of cases. Lead qualification. Porta de Frente. Christie's in Portugal closed 100 million in sales in early 2025 using AI assistants that handle lead qualification and property matching around the clock. Buyer Q&A. AI chatbots handle initial inquiry responses, shortlist properties, and schedule tours, with 74% faster first contact times than human follow-up. Transaction management. AI tracks deadlines, documents, and contingency dates across the entire pipeline. 97% of real estate professionals are actively exploring AI tools. The global AI real estate market was 2.9 billion in 2024 and is projected to reach 41.5 billion by 2033, a 30% annual growth rate. Crazy, right? The tools are not experimental. They are in production at scale right now. I mean, it used to cost a lot of money to have people do follow-up, answer phone calls, answer people's questions, take people constantly, go show them a bunch of houses and find out that they're just wasting your time, and then decorating houses, because the statistics show that if you furnish and give it a really cool curbside appeal, a higher percentage of it selling. Like a lot of people, they don't have imagination, so you kind of have to decorate and furnish it for presentation. Well, online, where people do a lot of the research now, they have apps now where you can literally just take photos of an empty house and you can furnish it however you want via AI, and it looks fantastic. I mean, you can do this in any room. If you're just curious to try it out, if you have a ChatGPT account, just take a nice photo from any angle of your living room, your bedroom, and just say, hey, I want to try a couple different remodeling decorations of my room. And it's crazy, right? So anyways, yeah, a lot is coming. All right, so let's move on to see what else we can dig into here. All right, so now add the commission context because the timing is significant. In August 2024, the National Association of Realtors settled a landmark antitrust lawsuit for 418 million. The rules changed. Sellers are no longer required to offer buyer's agent commission through the MLS. It's funny. I live in Costa Rica, and I lived in, I was born in Hawaii, and then I lived in California, and then I lived in Las Vegas, and eventually made my way here. In the U.S., you have this MLS system that every realtor uses here. They do not have that. In real estate here is the wild, wild west, and it is so much opportunity for people that can figure out the system here. But anyways, that's off topic. We're talking about the MLS. I did real estate here for a while. And when I was 18, I got my real estate license in Hawaii. Never used it. Never did real estate in the U.S. I only did it here, as well as bought and sold my own stuff. I've bought houses in the U.S. and sold them. I've even bought a house and remodeled it to sell it, just to do that experience. Yeah, real estate is a huge part of, so many people's success in, today's society. All right, every buyer's agent commission is now explicitly negotiated. The built-in protection that meant agents were effectively paid by default, regardless of how much value they added, is gone. Gone. The immediate impact has been modest. Buyer's agent commissions dropped from an average of 2.43% in early 2024 to around 2.4% or 2.40% in early 2025. But structural pressure builds slowly and then quickly. As buyers become more aware that commissions are negotiable, and as AI tools give them more direct access to listing data, comps, and qualified shortlists, the volume-based commodity service model faces simultaneous pressure from both sides. The NAR settlement cut the income structure. AI cut the workload that justified it. Neither alone would be decisive. Together, they put enormous pressure on the agent who competes on access and transaction volume rather than on expertise and relationship. Yeah, the commission dropped from 2.4 to 2.43 to 2.4. Doesn't sound like a lot, but these things ratchet up real quick. It sounds trivial until you apply it to medium home prices and multiply the number of transactions per year. The Federal Reserve actually published a note on this. When the Federal Reserve is writing research notes about real estate agent commissions, the profession is no longer having an internal conversation. It is having a very public one about its own value proposition. I think everybody knows somebody who's in real estate in their family. I have two family members, close family members that are into real estate, that do real estate in Texas. So let's see. Here is the honest list of what AI cannot do in a real estate transaction and why it matters. The agent who has sold in a specific neighborhood for 15 years knows things that are not in the data. The basement that flooded twice. The seller who has already bought elsewhere and needs to close by a specific date. The listing that has been relisted 3 times and the reason it keeps falling through. None of this is in MLS. None of it is in a CMA. It lives in the agent's knowledge of the people and the place. The 11 p.m. call when the buyer is panicking over the inspection report and about to pull out. That is a human moment. Reading the seller's agent's actual flexibility in a negotiation beyond what the counteroffer says. That is a human skill. Knowing when to push and when to let something go. That is judgment accumulated over years of transactions with real consequences. A $500,000 purchase decision is one of the largest financial decisions most people make in their lifetime. Yeah, a first house purchase is one of the biggest decisions that a young person, when I say young, somebody who's buying their first home at the age of, 20s or 30s. Well, it's becoming a lot less. There was definitely a golden era where it was relatively easy. Anyways, it is also one of the most emotionally loaded. The agents who survive the next 5 years will be the ones who made themselves genuinely necessary for the part that is still irreducibly human. Yeah, the basement that flooded twice. You cannot ask Zillow the question and get a reliable answer. You cannot ask an AVM. You can only get it from the agent who sold the house 3 doors down and heard about it at the time. This is the version of local knowledge that is genuinely not in the data, and it is exactly the kind of thing that turns a $500,000 transaction into a regret or into confidence. So that knowledge is worth a commission. The lockbox code is not. Right? How many rentals, Airbnb nowadays, it's like no more greeting, no more let me show you the house and tell you about the neighborhood. It's just like, join a WhatsApp. And here's when you're ready, I'll send you the lockbox number so you can let yourself in and show yourself around. The world is changing quick. I remember the days before internet, if you can believe it. The days before cell phones, I remember that. I even remember the days before pagers. Pagers, crappy cell phones, less crappy cell phones than the iPhone. Internet, and then internet kind of came in. The internet came in around the time after the cell phone. And then it was email, and then everybody needed to get a website. And most people didn't have one. Most people didn't have email. I remember all this. It makes me think I'm in a simulation to see all this stuff happening right before my very eyes. And then, voila, social media. Whoever thought that would do what it does. And now AI. and soon it's going to be robots. All right, where were we? Um, okay, so two audiences, two different sets of next moves. If you are a real estate agent, for you agents out there selling, automate everything AI can do, ruthlessly, and without sentiment. Listing copy, comps, lead qualification, inbox management, scheduling, transaction, checklists, all of it. Yes, you can automate so much of this, and there's more and more apps and things that are available. And you can even hire automators that can build you custom automations for your specific needs. They're all over the place. You could just go to school, SKOOL, and join a automation membership, and there's people in there that will be glad, that have tons of experience. I mean, or you just get online, you can find it. Just search on YouTube. Not because it makes you less valuable, but because it frees the hours you need to be excellent at the parts that matter. The agents growing in 2026 are running 4 to 6 times the listing content velocity of 2 years ago and closing at a higher conversion rates because their human time is concentrated on the work that AI cannot replicate. Yeah, so AI can help you scale as a realtor, and without having to hire a bunch of assistants to help you out and then deal with their incompetence. And some of you guys may have tried this and then you give up and go, it just doesn't work. If you are buying or selling property, ask your agent what AI tools they use and how. An agent who cannot answer this question is operating on a model that is already 2 years behind. And ask them what they specifically know about the neighborhood, the building, the seller situation that you cannot find on Rightmove or Zillow. That answer is the actual value you are paying for. The profession is not dying. The version of it that competes on access to information is. The version that competes on what you do with the information is growing. Yeah, ask your agent what AI tools they use and how. And if they say they don't use any because they prefer the personal touch, what they're actually telling you is that they're doing it manually at slower speeds. Things that a $50 a month tool handles much better. The personal touch is what happens after the comps are run and the listing is drafted, not during. An agent who uses AI for the commodity work and brings their full human judgment to the moments that count is not less personal. They are just more present when presence matters. Yeah. Once again, the real estate. I remember when everybody was trying to become a realtor. It was kind of like web design. Everybody was a web designer at one point. Now, so many people are like, I think I'm going to go into real estate. AI is going to be changing. If you're on top of that, you may be able to. I was just talking to a realtor the other day that still does things. I was asking them, and they still do things the old way because it's just the way. I mean, 2 years ago, you've been in real estate only 5 years, 6 years. You haven't been doing it that long, and in 2 years, everything's gone AI. Most people just they don't know what they don't know. They don't even realize. So, there's a lot of money to be made for people that are just simply auditing people and just saying, hey, let me look at what you're doing. Why aren't you doing this? It's not they don't want to. It's just they don't even realize that some of these tools are even exist because some of these tools just came out in the last 6 months. And B, once again, you don't know what you don't know, and people are afraid of technology, and it is a pain and a hassle. And if you go back 10 or 15 years, everything was a hassle. Oh, I got to learn this application, this new CRM. I don't want to deal with that. AI does the heavy lifting for you now. It's much easier. So the people that actually check this stuff out and kind of dive into it, you start to realize, oh, wait a second. I don't have to be born with a computer in my hand and playing video games to be really comfortable with all these buttons and programs. AI can do the heavy lifting for me, and it can literally just pull my experience of 20, 30, 40, 50 years out of my brain and bring value into that. And I think it's going to flip the script on a lot of people that realize that, older people. So real estate is not the last profession AI will touch. It is just the last major one that thought the information advantage would hold forever. It didn't. But the agents who understand what a $500, $700 million decision actually needs from a human and deliver exactly that are not going anywhere. So that's it for today's episode, guys. I will hit on real estate a lot, but that's what we're doing in this channel. is I am growing along and learning this stuff with you guys. So when I dive into this stuff, this is like new for me too. You know, like a lot of this stuff I'm learning on the fly with you guys. And I'm just going after interesting things that people in the 40s, 50s, 60s, I think really affects, and the disruption of AI on your jobs, industries, and small businesses, and how solopreneurs are evolving, and people just looking for side hustles and all that. So until the next video, guys, I'm just gonna keep doing it because I enjoy doing it. It's a lot of fun. So until the next video, remember, just get out there. Let's get it.